Wadau, radarada, muko fiti, muko chonjo, muko sambamba. This is gonna be a long one. So brace yourself. It is gonna be a heated political debate about the current status of our country and what we need to do in order for a bright future to manifest. So wadau, without further ado, let's get after it.
I want to take you to Tanzania a little bit, but not necessarily to discuss the outcome of all the bullshit that is going on. Specifically, entertainment, Diamond, right? So guys were very upset because one, Diamond has always campaigned for the government. Always.
Yeah.
Even before Suluhisho, when it was Magufuli. Yeah. I remember Diamond saying.
He does those.
He does.
He's always been
things.
in CCM. Yeah. He does what?
Those Ben Gidai things.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
And it's always been in
them
CCM.
They do CCM. Like...
Yeah. This is, for better context, is Kanu days. And then when you had musicians just who were just Kanu diehards. Anyway, so that...
Did we?
What?
I feel like those were specific choirs that were just, like, you had no option but to praise him.
Yeah.
What's that alikuwa anamwimbia? But to be fair, I don't even think it was support. People just did whatever for the band.
Yeah. So there's that. But also the posting on socials. I mean, okay, someone can be paid to perform at a gig, but if you're constantly pushing, asking guys to go vote, then this is beyond I was paid to come perform during a campaign. Because if I'm going to go out of my way on my socials to ask guys to go vote,
Chaque,
and also congratulate when she wins.
Chaque, do you know what I was thinking? I thought about this thing actually, and that Diamond has enough money not to involve himself with that business.
Facts.
So the only reason he would is because it affects his larger business, in a sense, or there has to be a way he's making money from it because, and it's not money for performance. Yeah, Diamond CEO perform.
Yeah, huyo mse pia akona do. Huyo mse, I think is kind of mimi naweza sema huyo mse is a multi-dollar millionaire. Sio tu millionaire wa shillings, hapana. That guy is a multi-dollar millionaire. Huyo mse has been around for a while. He has made good music. Huyo mse ameperform kwa stages kubwa. Huyo mse, and other than just the music business, kuna hizi biashara zingine yako nazo. Huyo mse amejenga empire big sana. So huyo mse akona do ya kutosha.
You know, like how you know
there's another even paid for that.
No, of course not. I think it's just being in the right book so that at the end of the day,
when you're trying to do your business, there's no restrictions. You know, those things. I think they're paying for, they're doing these things for the access to certain things.
Yeah.
I don't think, honestly, pesa zenye kina Diamond, ni aseme mesikia do zenye kina Diamond ulipo. Diamond, he doesn't need that money.
Definitely.
He's not doing it like, you see, if you saw a Charisma there, you'd be like, Charisma amepatiwa do flani.
Yeah.
Ruto amempatia do flani. You know, if you saw a Bensol there, you'd be like, the kind of money kina Diamond have accumulated, they don't need it. Yao ni access different. Si pesa ya hiyo show.
Yeah.
Ni pesa yes wanatengeneza, but ni on a larger scale, you know.
So then, which now exactly is the conversation I wanted us to have? Because I see guys killing Diamond online. Because one, when I flip, the same thing Charisma started with, like, you have so much money, you have everything anyone would dream of. Why do you have to do this? On the flip side, how much physical businesses does Diamond own in Tanzania?
Wasafi,
there's the betting, Sabuni, Njugu. But let's say Wasafi is the biggest and the betting company. When we've seen what happens to any Tanzanian artist who stands up against the government.
Yeah.
So if you're Diamond today, you've accumulated all that wealth. Would you risk that and stand against the government?
But there's that element, risking your entire life's work for a political moment. Kwa sababu, like, as a successful person, Pia, you have to be very careful how you mix politics and your work. You have to be very strategic and you have to be very smart. Because one wrong move, and you're out of the game. You are out of the game. Na mseka Diamond, iyo caliber ya success yake, na iyo place amefika, I am very sure there are like there are thousands, if not millions of people who want to see that guy aishe, afilisike, arudi chini, mambo yake ikue mbaya. So I think as much as tuna throw stones na tuna mkashifu, huyo mse pia he has a responsibility to protect his own, his money, his investments, his wealth, vitu kaa hizo.
And probably lose everything you have and maybe never even be in peace and make music.
My question
anymore.
is, why not just shut up?
You also have that's true. You have an
What if they are required to?
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's exactly true. What if mse anawapigia simu like oya? Because it can, especially kwa a young democracy kama ya Tanzania, somebody would just pick up the call na amwambie oya Buddha, we need your endorsement, we need your influence. Ebu get on the road. It's very possible.
But
the reason you are required is because there's something, there's a part of yourself that you
like
give.
You're returning a favor for something.
That's what I'm saying. It's the business angle is what makes the most sense.
But
because he wants to protect his business.
Clean business. You don't need to do something like that.
Sometimes you don't need to do clean business. You just need your business not to be shut down.
Yeah.
Because if someone wants to shut your business down, especially easy authorities, they can always find something. There is always something. There's always something in your business that can be used against you. So, hapa hivi, I completely agree na Chaque.
Okay, another example I'd give you is, say DJ Khaled, right? Who's from Palestine. Who everyone had such a big problem with because he never posted even once about Palestine. Never posted. We don't know whether he was donating, doing whatever he needs to do, but okay, if you look at his entire business, most of it is controlled by Jews.
Yeah.
So does Khaled lose all that and then his family, everything you've worked for, because you took a political stance?
Alafu pia we have to understand kwamba just because you're vocal about something, you made a statement or you voiced your opinion does not mean that the situation will change. We have seen protests pale US, all over the world, wase wakisema free Palestine, but has anything happened? Has anything happened? So, how certain are you that DJ Khaled akibonga that the Israelis will finally hear? That the Israelis will finally listen and they will implement something that is going to, to make the situation better for the Palestinians. I love you also to consider the likes of DJ Khaled, how they are I don't know if this makes sense. They are first generation wealth, wealth holders ama wealth owners, kitu kama hiyo. Ukiangalia wazazi wa DJ Khaled, they never had anything. So everything that DJ Khaled has right now, he has had to work for it and earn it. Nothing was handed over to DJ Khaled. Aku inherit anything. So mse ka DJ Khaled, they are very, very protective and they are very, very, cautious with how they approach issues because they know one political, a wrong political move, one political move enye itakuwa wrong and your entire empire, inakuwa wiped away. So you have to be very careful, Odao.
Or do you just not say anything and still protect what you worked for?
But I think especially in that situation, you've already lost everything. The fact that you can't say how you feel about certain things, you've lost all.
Ebu Odao muniambie, between a person mwenye ana protest, anafanya activism, trying to influence policy. Now we all know that influencing policy, it takes a lot of time. Na mse mwenye ako kwa ground, anapeana food, anapeana medication. Huyu mse is actively trying to fulfill the needs of people. Who is actually providing necessary help, immediate help. Kwa sababu mimi naona huyu mse mwenye anapeana food and everything is doing way more than the guy who's just yapping. Na pia ukiangalia, the guy who is giving real help, akiingia place ya ku-influence policy, akona leverage mob, na akona ushawishi kubwa. But mimi naona, we have to go with priorities. Saizi Palestine, children, wamama, wazee, they need help ya food, clothing, nini vitu kaa hizo. Then after vitu zime calm down a little bit, we can now go to start influencing policy. That is just my opinion.
The thing is, you guys are assuming that the wealth and whatever the people have is everything.
Yes.
You see, for Diamond, if people are actually dying, the thing is,
you've lost.
Like, at the end of the day, what do you stand for? Because if you don't stand for anything, you're nothing. You stand for nothing and you're nothing. So now, DJ Khaled, for example, kids are being killed. Sindio?
Yeah.
There's like a genocide happening from your community. But now,
that sucks.
You've chosen silence, you've chosen wealth, you've chosen money, you've chosen all these things that are material ahead of people's lives. So you'll just get Diamond, for example, all the things he has.
Yeah.
He has money, he's going to leave it here.
Yep. Yes, but hiyo mambo pia msijaribu kuniambia. Msijaribu kuniambia that money is not everything. Ati sijui, like hiyo mchezo sitaki kusikia. Nilikuwa nasikia juzi nani akisema ati sijui dough is not everything and stuff. So like, you know, you just have to find things that can make you happy even if you're broke. Like the only reason huyu msee anaweza sema hivyo ni juu akona dough. Huyo msee akona foundation, akona misingi, akona all the infrastructure and the frameworks na system ya kumsupport. So hata akisema yes dough sio everything, but school fees yake is taken care of. Food ya watoi wake is taken care of. Huyo msee akitaka kwenda Maldives is taken care of. Lakini sasa wewe ni Burugwai mtu hahe, unaanza kusema ati money is not everything, bro. Utasafa. The people who say that have money and they are enjoying the convenience that money provides. So tusikue confused.
Atawachapa.
Yeah.
And the thing is, people forget that it's people who made
him to
Diamond, not the government.
And that's a very good point.
So the people who made you, because it's people who listen to your music, it's people who are now betting through your company, the people who are now buying your fucking jugos or whatever. Now, like, yes, so now, like, those are the people that are being killed. But now you want to choose to stand with the government.
With the oppressor.
Because now, okay, fine, the oppressor allows you to do business. But no one likes you in the country.
What's the point?
How does it work now?
Yeah.
But pia hiyo, like, stop it. Hii mambo ya boycotting stuff and like, maybe sometimes tunai overrate. If you're making a good product, you're making a good product. And if you have the support of a powerful institution such as the government, bro, hata wasewa boycott, hiyo nini yako, wewe bado uta make profit. Kwa sababu, kaa waseni oppressors wa ukweli, these people can just make business harder kwa competitors wako, and the only product enye kwa market ni yako. Like, bro, it's easy like that.
So, and Chaque, and so I had this argument with a couple of musicians, I won't say who, but I was telling them the same things that I'm saying. It makes no sense for you to tell me these are the reason why you're where you are is these people. But now you're going to turn your back on these people for people who never supported you at any point in your career. Because let me tell you, Suluhu was not listening. She was not, those government people were not the people who got Diamond where he is.
True.
Diamond was gotten where he is by the fans. You see, and that's why in my opinion, you've lost everything. You might still have your wealth here, but as a person, me personally, I feel like I could have all that wealth, but it becomes meaningless even in my heart. And that's why I think he says, stand for something. In my heart, if I'm there and I'm like, okay, nimeka do. But, and so if we start giving those kind of excuses, what then separates that from those people who betrayed also the movement that was happening in Kenya the other time, who were paid to go, who were paid by the government to betray them? What's the difference? Because they also chose money.
Yeah.
So there's no difference. So if we do that, we're going to be excusing everyone. Nijuali choose though, so uta sacrifice though because of you.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that's why it goes back to the a conversation on values.
Yeah.
Because money as it comes, some people will argue and say, all of us work to make money.
Later, akina Chaque will get to the root of the problem. Lakini, acha niwaambie tu saizi. Hii Kenya yetu, people will still choose money over values. Do you know why? because we are a desperate society. Wadau, I don't know kama mna understand. And it is something that I've been pushing on TikTok. Nikijaribu kuambia wase kwamba the reason why we will not make any logical choices or logical decisions come 2027, maybe even 2032, is because we are thinking with our stomachs and not with our heads. There is engineered desperation in our society whereby politicians need to give people handouts in order to secure their votes, and people cannot actually resist because they need them. They need them. Haya.
Different people have different objectives. Some people want to be billionaires, and that's something they're really keen on. Some people just want enough to support their lives and whoever they care about. Some people just want enough to live their dreams, and all of us do different things for different things. No, different
reasons.
For different reasons. So when someone says, at the end of the day, all of us are here to make money, then that's someone who will compromise their values when there's a checkbook attached to it. So also, which means that's someone who will protect their business or their interest at whatever cost, regardless. And they have
Money conversation. This is the conversation that needs to be happening frequently, maybe even all the time, because this is exactly the problem with our country. Achana na zile vitu zingine kwanza zote. Kuna wase they cannot afford food. Kuna wase they can't afford shelter. Kuna wase they don't have access to clean water. Kuna wase they don't have access to all these things that wase wengi wanaichukulia kama trivial. Kina Chaque unaweza access anytime. Na hawa wase, they are the ones who actually vote. And they are the ones who get to decide the future of this country.
They have a reason that is valid to some extent. If you look at it from the perspective of money. Someone else will say, if you stand by the side of the people, you'll always win. Because governments come and go, the people remain. Also, when you stand with the side of the people, then these are even if you're frustrated with the government, the only people who can help you is the people at the end of the day. But also, there's people who will say, these guys will tweet about me and then that's it. They're not going to do anything about it. Someone else will look at how much they've struggled and then they're like, you know what, this is not worth it. So sometimes all I'm saying is it can be more complicated than we know. But if you're someone who you put money ahead of values, then you end up in a situation like Diamond. Because also, I don't think Diamond was already doing well before he got involved in politics. That's why I love the Sauti, the BNs who from the jump go, they were like, they don't want to get involved in politics. You can imagine at the peak of Sauti, if they were not strict on with they don't want to do politics, I'm sure they would have been all over the country during elections. Because they were the biggest band. Even if they decided to side with, say, the least favorite, even if they decided to side with the opposition, it's still politics. There's people who do not support the opposition who will feel some type of way. So the conversation on whether musicians or people in the content space should be involved in politics, I think it's a personal choice. You just have to deal with the consequence that comes with politics, because politics is dirty. When you're involved with politics, unaona kama Diamond, maybe he genuinely supports CCM. Maybe he genuinely believes in Suluhu. Maybe. But now the fact that he went public with it, then when it rains on CCM, Diamond gets the mad. He gets muddy as well.
I think it's just it's a consequence. I mean, consequences. It's the price you have to pay for siding with such a huge, protective, resourceful, entity, kitu kama hiyo. But pia ukiangalia the upside inashinda the downside.
Yeah. I think what people have to do is, and this is the part where creatives and musicians take advantage of people. People just need to go 10 toes down with these things and make sure there's consequences for people's actions. Because the one thing I know a lot of people, what I tweet to now, Sahau. Bro, I think every action has to have consequences, regardless of who you are, watu wasisahau hizo vitu. It's fine. You can do whatever you want to do, make your money, but people should never forget. So that the next time when this person is coming to the ground, you see, because Diamond knows I'll do this, and the next time you're feeling my show, my stadium show, you're jamming to my song, I have the hottest song. So there has to be actual consequences for certain things. Like, and when people say I'm not going to listen to this person because of this, and I'm not doing this show, going to this show because of this, it has to be, me, honestly, especially with things where people have lost their lives and things like those, I think it has to be as drastic as that. Because and I want to say here in front of everyone, it's not that those opportunities don't come to us, guys.
Yeah.
It's not that I've never been called by these people, come and do this. Tell them no. We don't align value-wise with you guys, principle-wise. So
who would you say yes to?
A club.
No. Which politician?
Oh, who would I say? To a politician?
Yeah,
no. Honestly,
Maraga, if Maraga comes to you.
But you did a skit with Maraga.
No, I just did a skit, but I don't think I would go performing at road shows.
Yeah.
For politicians in general.
Also, Saddam, I think also we have to be clear on there's campaigning for politician and there's endorsing a politician.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I can come say...
Wait, what?
There's campaigning and endorsing. So, endorsing is me just being open
Getting
about who
like
I
what
believe and who I'll
Diamond
vote
does.
for. So I'll do, I'll say, the next election I'll vote for
whoever.
But now if I go out or every day start campaigning now, asking other people to come do it, now that's campaiging for politicians. Now I would never campaign for any of these politicians. Yeah. But can I endorse? Of course I can tell you where my mind is when it comes to elections and who I think I'll vote for. Yeah. But I'm not going to go out of my way to you see me on their campaign.
However,
I'm asking guys online, if you're on live, please vote for.
With how I feel about the current regime and the person in power right now, I think I would genuinely, if I believe in a candidate 100%, like as you said.
Wadau, I think this is the part where they get to a very, very sensitive or essential element of this entire debate. Is Ruto the problem in this country? I think the president is not the problem. Hebu sikiza ndakupatia reasons.
Like Amaraga, I think I would probably go out of my way to do it because I feel so strongly about the fact that I don't want this person in power right now.
But the thing is, Chaque, also, if you believe in someone, for example, you generally believe this is good for us, right? I mean, evil. You wouldn't try and convince us or rather tell us why you believe in them.
I just don't think it's not in my place, and I don't want to be that. I don't want to be.
I would. Like, you see, in the instance of like a Ruto via Maraga, I would definitely.
No, but like, I still don't understand your reason. Considering, would you want change in the country?
Yeah,
for example, right?
And that's why I'm like, I'll come talk about it and I'll tell you my opinion. But I don't. Okay, basically, all I'm saying is I don't want.
But that's being passive. No, it's not about. You cannot not involve yourself with politics.
Yeah. Not in that
politics
sense.
Is you. Every single day. The reason why you're talking about there's no Barabara Korea is because of politics. Yeah. So you cannot say 100%. You're going to sit on the side and not be part of politics.
This is not sitting on the side.
Guy, I didn't say I'm not going to be involved like that or sit on the side. I've told you, like, I'm definitely going to vote to begin there. Now, I can be vocal about who I'm voting for and I'll give you my exact reasons why.
Why?
But I'm not going to go to campaign for that person.
I think they have a definition, a difference of definition, because I think Chaque's idea of campaigning ni kwamba, okay, kwenda kwa hizo political rallies, standing on those cars, saying, hey, this is the guy, kutukanana, stuff like that. And I think Saddam's definition of campaign ni kwenda places ka CBD na kuambia wase, hey, don't vote for person X because amefanya ABCD na hiyo Kenya amefanya it has oppressed us na imefanya hii country yetu imekuwa na stagnation, maybe economically kitu kai.
Like, unless you're my friend, like,
why not? Okay, why not specifically? Why not?
Because I just don't want to. It's not in my field. I feel like this is my job. I'll come talk about it here. I don't want to get involved to that extent.
No, okay. So this is the thing, right? Yeah. If you believe in something, and because the way, for example, guys in New York were campaigning for the Mamdani guy, the mayor. So what they were doing is, for example, we believe in this guy. Sisi tuko hapa, it's our responsibility.
But I think the Mamdani case is a perfect example kwamba the system always wins. You can't go against the system and win. Utakuja kuona ni kwa nini nasema hivyo.
To educate people around us about this guy that we believe in.
Yeah.
Because you want to change the environments. You know, for example, we go home, sawa, you believe in Maraga, for example.
Yeah.
You would, because you want to win.
Yes.
If it's the person who you're supporting,
And I believe he will make a difference.
And you believe it will change your life, then you should be able to make the effort and educate people around you to the point where you actually could go next door and have a conversation with them.
But this is my form of education.
You know, sometimes I think
it's a big platform and I do that. I think all I'm saying is, it's like saying, okay, now lecturers on strike. I'll come cover it. But I may not necessarily now join them on the streets.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Also, Chaque, I think the thing about the political thing is there's an aspect of, with Kenyans, it's like, and I don't know if it's in your head, but I think subconsciously all of us have it, where when someone supports a political leader or whatever, it's like Kenyans expect you to go with them full throttle to the end. Baka, so attack make mistake, your mistake ni yenu.
Yeah.
So people fear associating because
just
they're
in
like,
case anything goes left.
what if Maraga becomes president and then he becomes
goes rogue.
Idi Amin? Oh,
charisma, you are
but I always
endorsing.
tell people, you know, the thing is, when that happens, I can actually say, no, that's not the person I supported and step back. I think people are afraid of the fact that in this country, when you do that, people never allow you. It's a permanent link. Yeah, so you know, like you've seen it with like okay, so Ruto is a bad example because he was doing crazy things for a while, yeah. But the people who voted for Ruto, who believed in him, a lot of them try to disassociate themselves with him, but bado wanaambia hapana, ulipiga nini, mbona unakuja maandamano, aungempigia kura, you know. So I think
it's an unrealistic thing, because okay, generally when Ruto was campaigning, I'd see why a lot of people, would want to vote for him. One, he was the underdog who was going against the government. And I'm just saying, based on now, just Ruto versus Rao.
Yeah.
Of course, there was other options. I'm saying, if people had to choose between the two, or if people had to weigh, people would be like, one, this is the underdog. You're going against the system. He's promising serikali ya mama mboga. You know, all those, like, you know, the things politicians do. Yeah. So I would see why someone who would take it at surface level will be like, oh shit, this is the guy who's coming to make change.
To fight for me.
Jua kali, to fight for me.
That's very true. Kwa sababu manifesto yake, it was very clear and it was very simple and it was very comprehensive. It was simple. Hustler akuje juu. Bottom up economy. Inasemekana manifesto ya Azimio ilikuwa better than Ruto's. Ukiingia ndani kudig deep. Lakini Ruto he had a better slogan. He was a better storyteller. And that is why most people waliona, oh yeah, this is the guy mwenye finally atasaidia hii nchi.
And also, oh my God, he's going against the Kenyatas and this guy dynasty. So I'd see why, like, at a surface level, someone would easily forget, but this guy is still the vice president.
Yeah.
Even as you speak,
but
he's still vice president.
I think we should be able to lean into those things. And it happens in the States and people still have the fact, bro, those people campaign for what they believe in. Yeah. I think in Kenya, the problem is people struggle to disassociate those things. Like if I campaign for Maraga today, I'll tell you this is why I'm campaigning for him. I believe in his manifesto and all this and this. If he deviates from whatever I believe in, I should be able to say, that's not what we were campaigning for. But you see, people they're like, apana, what will come to Maraga?
And also with your conscience, the thing is, you make a decision that you think at that particular moment is right. Because I cannot make a decision that I think 5 years later will be incorrect. It's now. This is what I think now. And the thing about life is, if it turns out to be wrong, it's wrong. And then you
move
on and you change, and change happens, you know.
Because you vote for a president and then they become someone else tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I believed in that when I was voting for him. But if they change, that's on them.
And I think that's the big fear with a lot of Kenyans right now, especially and people in like creative spaces and artists and everything. They fear that judgment of, hey, when will him support? That's the thing.
I think for me, it has to be something that is very personal for me to get to the point where now I'm campaigning for someone. It's just not my thing, and I don't wish to be in that space in that manner.
I feel like your way of campaigning, I think in your mind is to physically go with him in
you sitting
here.
Feel kama campaign Ruto ni personal. Me by the way, I feel like it's very personal because
is it truly kwamba the president to fail, is it the system that to fail? You have to be very critical of these things. Na inafaa tukue very logical. We don't have to let emotions lead us. Kwa sababu I think people are losing the fight because they can't see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is the system. We have a systematic problem, not an individual's problem. Hata juzi Morara alikuwa amesema, yes, we can even, let's say, we replace the president. We get another person in there. It does not necessarily mean kwamba huyo msee ata effect change enye tunataka. That is not gonna happen. Because there is a process for the president to say something, and whatever they say to be implemented, it has to go through a certain process. And if the entities and the institutions that are participating in the process are not fully in alignment with your vision, they will definitely not support you and they will try to fight you. Hiyo ndio kitu watu wengi hawa understand.
And like me naonanga Ruto kama enemy wangu personal.
Yeah. No, but it has to get to a level where you look at it that way. Because if a lot of when these decisions are being made,
he's not your enemy.
I don't think Ruto is working for me, to be very honest.
He's working.
Is he working against you?
Yeah, he's
Evidently.
So you don't feel like it's a personal thing too?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. When we get to the level where you look at it that personally, because when these decisions are being made, they affect you directly as a person.
Directly.
But that's, I think, because we mask it in these names, bills, nini. It never feels like it's targeted
but
towards
it is personal.
You. But when the repercussions of that really affect you
influencing hizi vitu. Hiyo kitu ni personal to.
And things will only change, if we all take it personal, not passive.
Yes.
The idea that, you know what, I can only do much. I can only do this, but I don't want to do this. That's when now that's like a dangerous territory because we tunakuwa numb in that area. True. But see the way Karishma is talking about, like, I believe in this person. I want to make sure this person leaves. Like, if we all, if everyone who actually, because I feel like majority like him, but like not everyone is as determined.
Yeah, I feel like they don't take it personally.
Yeah. I feel like if we were all determined to say, man, this is what we're going to do, he has to go home. We want to change. I think
he will.
I think that is not gonna save us. Taking it personally is not gonna save us. What we really need to do is identifying the problems na identify sources za hizi problems. Replacing Ruto is not going to save us. Fixing the problems, systematic problems, that is going to save us. I think hiyo ndio kitu watu wengi wanamiss hapa hivi.
I think the place where we're failing, and it's not just a Kenyan thing, it's just a global thing, and that's why politicians across the world are almost literally the same, is that for such change to happen, it needs a level of unison that is going to be hard to genuinely obtain from people. Yeah. And also, like Ruto now and the guys in government, I can guarantee you that 20 steps ahead of our ordinary minds in terms of how...
Yeah, that's the other thing I say. They kind of don't want to accept, although they know it's the truth, that Ruto is a political wizard. That guy understands politics in a way that an average citizen, an average Kenyan cannot grasp. Huyo mse ana understand vitu zenye wase, bro, that guy knows what he's doing. He understands the political landscape inside and out.
Are going to form come 2027. So when it comes to infiltration and even just propaganda, government will always win and they'll be number one at that. Yeah. So the government knows if guys unite, it's going to be a problem. So the government will do whatever it takes for guys not to unite. And our problem is we are banking on...
I want to firmly disagree with that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like a myth. It's like a fear that we've all been having for the longest time when we were kids. Like, the government knows this, the government does this, or they're always... But so many times, the people the government has supported have lost. Yeah. How many times? So many times. Yeah. Enough times for us to believe we can beat them.
Yep.
Regardless of how much money they have. Because we don't need money. You just need will.
Yeah.
You see, you'll only need money if you're competing with money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unaget?
Yes.
If charisma unataka kushindana na government and you want to buy people,
Yeah, you can't.
that's the only time now we can say that's
Maybe.
But if it's a will of the people, nothing can beat that.
Yeah.
But now you
Jackson,
see, that's a
last year
different issue, though.
last year maandamano, for the most part, early in the maandamano, we kept being told the government is 10 steps ahead of you guys.
And look at how
They
it
were,
went.
though.
No, they were not.
Even from
They-
the jump,
no.
charisma.
First
Let
of
me
all,
tell
they
you-
didn't see it coming.
Let me tell you,
talk
they
about-
were, listen, Chaque. The government was never 10 steps ahead of us. They were shook to their boots. Ruto, in his mind, would have never sided with Raila.
Ever.
That was not 10 steps ahead.
Here's the thing. When it comes to politics, the opposition and the sitting government or the administration in power, they're just two sides of the same coin. And hii mambo ya kusema ati Ruto lost kwa hiyo maandamano, no, he did not. Yes, Ruto came forward and akasema kwamba yes, we are going to drop the financial bill, but ilipita secretly. We all know that's the truth. The financial bill enye wase walikuwa wana protest against did pass secretly. So it was a draw. Wakenya walifanya nini? Wakenya waliandamana and everything, but behind the door, the financial bill haikuwa disapproved, ilipita.
It was, he realized,
He needs somebody to calm these people down.
kumeharibika.
Yeah.
So they were never 10 steps ahead. They tried to tell us, but you saw them. They were shaking in their boots. Right? You think Ruto is a person for taking back his words. This person has been president for how long already? How many things has that man said that is never taken back?
Yeah.
Even his last interview, he went and said what? He's taking down the bill himself. And he said, whoever has done nini tumewatch and sawa. He went to Raila not because he was 10 steps ahead. It's because he was shaking. He had no other options. So there's nothing like the government is 10 steps ahead. That's a thing they push. And that's why they use those bloggers and everything to push these notions. So that everyone believes we can't outsmart the government.
Powerless.
Look at New York, the Mamdani.
Before we get to New York, now, mnajua tu ukweli what happened. The government passed the bill, and then Raila came in not as... Raila was always the backup plan. Like the opposition is always the backup plan, no matter what. Hata museme nini, opposition government, two sides, one coin.
Race that he's talking about. He went against the Cuomos, and against the same people we go against in this country. People who are names that have run this, who've run New York for the longest. The same way us guys are fighting those people. And do you know what won? It was the will of the people. This is someone who...
But ikifika New York, you all know what happened. Yes, Mamdani was like, no, we are going to do this. But eventually he had to humble himself down. Because all the investors, the people, the entities, the institutions that ran the economy of New York abandoned New York. Hadi Mamdani alienda akasik the help of Trump. Huyo mse aka humble down, ndio investors walirudi New York. So eventually system will win. The system always win. Wadau, this ikido ni complicated sana.
10, not even 5 years ago, 10 years ago would have never won that seat.
Yeah.
Because of his beliefs and everything, his race, you know. But you see, these people said, we want a person who fights for us, and they believed in everything he was saying, and it was a comfortable win for them.
Yeah.
You know.
It's the will. It's the will of the people.
Yeah.
There is that, and then there's now the reality. There is the reality. The economy. Whoever runs the economy has power. And that is part of the system. So, tunaweza kuwa hapa, hey. But at the end of the day, if we don't have powerful people backing us, powerful, systems behind us, supporting us, hakuna kitu tunafanya maze.
So I think it's two slightly different things. Now, I'll justify why I think the government is mostly many steps ahead when it comes to the politics. That's what I was saying in terms of formation, what's going to happen. But then it doesn't mean that now we can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that now the government being steps ahead means that we can't win against the government. That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
I just said when it comes to the political structure and how things are moving, the government will always be
course.
steps ahead.
Of course.
I'm not actively thinking about it every day about 2027. Atu kiniuliza how many constituencies are in Kenya and how many people are there. I don't even have that information. But the government currently can guarantee you everything is fleshed out.
Okay.
So they're already actively doing something about it. So by the time Kalonzo and whoever are forming a collusion and Gachagua nini, and then sisi tuko like, oh shit, these are the guys who are from collusion ya pili. Ruto hata sijui party yake itaitwa nini. What strategy? So that's what I mean. What I mean is they are constantly working on it. So in that regard, there are so many steps ahead of us. Sisi tunangoja tu Kalonzo atuambie anafanya nini. Unafikiri Kalonzo ajua anaenda kufanya nini?
Okay.
Wewe unajua?
Okay.
So in that regard, he'll be couple of steps ahead. It doesn't mean it now as the people.
We are powerless.
We are defeated, we are powerless. I mean, the decision falls on us who we vote for.
I could see them thinking that we are also steps ahead. Look at it this way, right?
Yeah.
We're not thinking about 2027 like they do. How nafikiria
Strategy.
they're thinking about the election, right? But the thing is, every single day you wake up and things are difficult in this country.
You're thinking
Those are the things that fuel you you're being fueled by real life things.
experiences.
When you're waking up in the morning, when Kerea frustrating you, when Kanjo or Mksumbo Pandei.
Then Cherargei is making some damn statements.
Those are the things that are fueling us to make us not just think about 27, but believe the 27 things will change. How wanaangalia from like a strategic point of view.
Yeah.
Yes, wadau, we are emotional and we are thinking of how to bring change in our country. But politicians are also thinking of ways to persuade you otherwise. They're also thinking if they fail to persuade you, can they persuade another tribe somewhere that the government has their best interest at heart? So in that sense, Chaque is right. Because Gava, it always divides and conquers. Divides and conquers. The government is not necessarily after Kenyans uniting na kuwaongoza wote. No, they know that it cannot happen. So they just need people to divide and the majority of Kenyans to support them. And they are very good at doing that.
This community hapa, huyu tutamfanya hivi, huyu tutampe position, huyu tutampatia ambassador. Fine. Those things will not win election.
Yes.
Even those people they're choosing, the end goal is us. The idea that they're combining all these people is to try and convince Nani, Sisi. So, Sisi, us as people, eventually we are it's the prize. We're the ones who decide who will be in power.
Yeah.
Because Hama Jama, they are very few number-wise. So, Sisi, for example, if Mimi as a resident, for example, in Machakos, if I allow a politician to come with money and buy my vote, that is now me failing failing us.
Yep.
So that is, but if again, how they can plan.
I don't really think that is true. You know, you've been put in a situation whereby you need the money. You're desperate for the money. Now I say they're like, okay, I have to think about my stomach right now. I have to think about my needs right now. So when it comes to politics are secondary in comparison to basic needs. So if somebody is offering me money, I have to take money to meet my basic needs at this moment. So it is not necessarily about, okay, a Kenyan failing other Kenyans or his country. No, it is a system that has been working against Kenyans for a very long time, continuing to oppress Kenyans by making them desperate and being, susceptible to all the handouts that politicians offer.
And strategies as much as you want. But if we decide he's going, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do.
It will never happen. It's so unrealistic.
No.
What do you mean?
And I don't like
us, relying.
I like how Chaque thinks. I really like how Chaque thinks. Chaque is just rational and is like, no, bro, like we have to be logical about these things. Hatuwezi kuwa tu hapa na emotions and we think that everybody thinks this like us. We cannot be just wishfully thinking about the outcome na tufikirie itakuwa hivyo. No. We have to go with facts. We have to go with logic. We have to go with reality.
No, I'm just saying the truth. I'm not saying that
I
it
don't
can't be
believe.
done. It's just what
Do
happened.
you know my problem with those statements is it's those narratives.
That's
That's
demoralization.
And this is the thing I've been pushing back a lot of late. The people who say, who
What's the
tell
point
people,
of
me,
voting?
I wouldn't vote. It
That's
doesn't
exactly-
make sense
that's
because
exactly what Moaz
nothing,
thinks.
it wouldn't make a difference. I don't like when people say that, especially on public
demoralizing.
forums.
Yeah.
Because what you do is there's a lot of people who listen to you and they're
Chaque and they're like, whatever he
Right.
thinks,
but
I'll
then
take
Chaque
that.
amesema no kweli. And Chaque, do you know how many votes we've lost there because Chaque has said it will never change? Me, I believe in, listen, even in the States, at some point, they didn't think it would make a difference. But look at them now. Did you see how many billionaires contributed against Mamdani?
Of course.
Yeah.
The kind of money that was put out there to fight that man. But he won. And me, I tell people, listen, I hear you. There's that realistic sense that you're trying to bring, but I don't think that's progressive.
So
Anything that's that's
But the billionaires who are fighting against Mamdani, they eventually won. Hawase walishinda. Because Mamdani had to forsake everything. Huyo msee ilibidi abandon your plan yake yote and he had to to conform. The billionaires won bana.
fighting the common goal of the people, even in terms of narrative, because that's a narrative that's being formed. Oh, it won't make a difference. Bro, wacha tuifanye isi make difference.
Na tukubali
Wacha
basi.
tuifanye isi make difference. Wacha, Chaque we message yako iko positive. Guys, go out and vote. Go out and vote. There's no need for that caveat of it might not make a difference. It doesn't help anyone. Let's vote. Let's all collectively vote. Let it not make a difference. And the next time we do it again.
Till it
and
makes a
again.
difference.
And
So,
again.
Goal is
Because I feel unajua short and I feel I'm not even saying what I'm
Oh, okay, okay.
Because I was telling you when you're telling me about it, people don't have power. That's not what I meant. I just said there are many steps ahead in terms of how they look at the election because that's their job. If you ask me about plans for my check for next year, I'll give you a better plan than checkmates. Because me, I'm thinking about it actively every day. So that's why I'm misquoted. So let me say what I was saying. What I was saying in terms of what your statement on people is that we need to go an extra step. We can't live on wishing. So if you're just going to say
we cannot work on wishful thinking. Hatuwezi sema tu ati sasa sisi we are angry with Ruto and everything ati vitu zitanyoka. Hapana, we need a plan, we need a concrete plan, and we need to act on the plan. And for me, the first thing we need to do is to empower our society so that we don't have to make desperate decisions. Hiyo ndio inatuua kabisa. Hiyo ndio inatuua. We don't have basic needs. We can't meet our basic needs. We can't fulfill them. And we have to understand that basic needs come above everything else. To take care of those things, basic needs, we have a better chance ya kuangusha waseka Ruto. But kama tutakuwa tu tunabonga and nobody is looking after these basic needs, wase wanapelekewa unga ya chapo na ugali, they start dancing. Wase places kama Mumias wanapatiwa soda na mkate, they sell their votes. Alafu tuko hapa hivi, we want to say that, oh, we are angry, we are emotional, oh, the economy is bad. Not everybody cares. People don't understand the degree of ruin these people have done to our economy. The only thing they need is their stomachs fed. They want to be in a house. They want their school fees paid. They want to have some clothing. That is all that matters. If we take care of that and empower our societies in that way, then we can talk about kutoa kina Ruto. That is the truth.
Hey, guys, 22 to vote, 22 to find nini, then I promise you it's going to be the same thing because politicians know they'll start giving out handouts.
Exactly. That is the truth. That is the plan, and that plan is always worked. But here was say handouts. At that moment when it matters the most, hapo kwa election, because your psychology in a change once of at the very moment when it matters the most, your psychology changes and all of a sudden you're not thinking about the future. You're thinking about your stomach, and that is all that matters. Chaque anabonga ukweli.
The same thing. Of course, they're not working for us because they know when they give you money, you need the money. So we have to start to a conversation of values. If my values do not exist, then I'll be paid. Then I become a government blogger because I can take the money. I'll give my vote for 500 shillings or unga or whatever is going on just because I'm in an area that is starving. So those small things which are intentionally put there by the system, if we ignore those things, 2027 will come and all of us will be here.
Exactly. That is the truth. That is the heart of the problem. Let us address the desperation that the system is causing in our society. That is all. Hata tuache mambo ya values kwanza. Let us to deal na desperation hii. Tukideal na desperation, we can now talk about values. Now we can now talk about changing leaders and fixing the system. But first of all, let us protect people from the manipulation ya our say.
Again, discussing what went wrong. When essentially it's just you. E-group thinking it unafikiri you have 100,000 Kenyans who think the same as you. It's not going to happen. We will be disappointed. So as we speak to people, let's begin with values. Everything goes down to values. The reason why a politician steals your money is because they don't have the right values.
And it's civil
when they're paid to do their job. So start your conversation with people on values. But tukianza kufikiria, we're going to be all the millions. These people want to think the same. Maandamano should do the same thing. How long did it take for the government to infiltrate what was going on? At some point, now you couldn't even trust anyone online. Of course, that's actively done by the government. Actively. All the propaganda.
Yeah, the government is very good at dividing and conquer. Dividing and conquer. Kwa kila group that is posing a threat to the government has mechanisms and tools and equipments and strategies and methodologies and approaches to divide that group and conquer.
You see, it's run by the government. They have unlimited money.
No, but I feel like at some point, it was if you were part of the movement, if you understand what was going on, it was very easy nowadays to see what's a narrative and what's true.
But now the fire is dead.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't think the fire is dead. I think it's just
ile kwenda maandamano, ile yenye tulikuwa nasema Tuesday nini. It died because in a very short while the government infiltrated the whole thing.
But actually, you see, I think a lot of it is civil education and just persistence. Anything, I think even like, let's use Mic Cheque as an example. The reason why you guys are where you are right now is persistence. You know, You've worked and consistency to a point where nobody can stop what you guys are doing anymore. And I think that's what it is. And the truth is, if we think this thing can't happen, you just have to look to other democracies. There's actually democracies that have had similar problems where the government was infiltrating their movements, all those things. Ata Mau Mau.
Yeah.
Bro, ata Mau Mau ndo itoe Kenya penye ilitoa. The struggle for independence in Kenya, there were some people who are being infiltrated. There's Mau Mau people who betrayed their people. There is always going to be those people. So we can't always just say something like that. Nothing will change. Things will change with persistence and consistency, you know. And I think part of that is what you're saying, doing things real things on the ground. What you guys are doing, like what we're doing right now, actively educating people on what their roles are and the importance of these things. Mi bedemi wambiata wase kwa streets. Chukweni hizo handout. Hakuna shida. But mi sijai understand mbona mna feel like there's a gun to your head.
To vote for that.
Uvote umse juu amekupea hiyo punch. Mi sijai understand. I don't get it. Amekupea punch, sawa. And then, what are you going...
I think mseki kupatia do, it kind of rewires your psychology. And all of a sudden, you start thinking that huyo mse mwenye amekupatia kitu is the guy mwenye akona your best interest at heart because amesacrifice do yake akakupatia. But ule mse mwenye amekuatua kiimba and everything, huyo mse you don't trust them because they've not made the next move, that next step of sacrificing something, of giving you something enye ina solve problems yako hapo na hapo. Hiyo punch you will buy nayo unga. Hiyo punch you will buy nayo some, you know, something, maybe some clothing. That punch will directly change your life. But yule msemo mwenye anapiga tu mdomo, you don't really know kama hizi policies zake zita change your life. I think that is a difference.
This 500 will take care of you for 5 years. You know, so there's those things we need to go to the ground and tell people. And you know who the weakest link are? It's not the guy, it's not even the people watching Mic Cheque right now. It's those
That's
people in our homes. Ours are away to our uncles, our aunts, uko to, I don't know what tunafaa kuongea now. Like, we need to tell these people on the ground. And the message from today has to just be, like, everyone has to, like, especially the youth, everyone has to get a voter's card and vote.
Yeah, it's more like when we're talking about responsibility, like, if you take care of your household, make sure you convince everyone.
Yes.
If every one of us takes responsibility, okay, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing. We go do it collectively as individuals, as households, or our community, or whatever. I think that's how we can. It's going to be very easy. No one knew we could get into parliament.
Yep. No, absolutely.
Even until now,
absolutely.
I'm sure
The fact that
absolutely.
and even no one knew that was possible.
Even us.
When you saw it happening,
so.
when you saw it happening, I saw it on TV, by the way. When we saw it happening, we never thought that was possible, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, we know what our capability is.
Yes.
Not sure what we can do. The
And they also know. And they also know.
And they
At this
also
point in
know.
time,
And the fact-
now they know.
And now it's very simple, by the way. Now it's no one wants you to. There's no tear gas. There's nothing. It's just you going with your voter's card and voting.
change.
That's it. Hakuna less work, less. Hakuna tear gas. Hakuna vita. Hakuna nini. Just
How do we deal with tribal politics? Because clearly you can
It's
see
heavy,
again.
it's making a comeback.
It's
Do you know
a heavy
what I
comeback,
think?
and they will divide us along.
Chaque, I feel like
lines.
tribalism, and it still exists massively in this country. However, there's things that have happened in this country in the last couple of months, years, that have broken even the tribal lines. Like even the Mandamano, how people went to the Mandamano broke the tribal.
I think not really break the tribal lines, but it has given us an idea, a glimpse of what can actually happen if we abandon and we let go of tribal politics and come together as a country and focus on bettering our country. It is just like, it was just a highlight or some sort of a preview, kitu kama hiyo. But people are back to their default settings. And it's because I think ni watu wajinga. There are a lot of primitive people hapa hivi. People who don't think right. Like, I think that is the problem. Ujinga ya watu wajinga ni wengi sana.
Lines. Why? Because right now I'm not only suffering in Kenya as a Luya.
We are all suffering.
Everyone is suffering. The cost of living is too high. I think appeal to the human side of people. What Saddam was saying. When you wake up, you're dealing with these battles every single day as a Kenyan. And I think that's what everyone who's campaigning against this government needs to go and talk to the streets about. Like, we're not talking about that, Nijuni Mkale, no. All of us are struggling. It's difficult to afford Dunga. It's difficult to afford rent every month. Nobody's saving. Bro, I talk to people, young people, every single time. No one is able to save. It's not possible. Unafikiria kusave do. Unaitoa wapi? Ni hand to mouth. Hata mse mwenye ako na do ako hand.
Especially hii mwaka imepita. 2025 has been a terrible year. Mimi, I can attest to that. It has been a difficult year, hardship, left, right, and center. Bro, it has just been hell. I'm hoping maybe 2026 videos that quite different, but I will not be surprised ka videos taendelea kuwa tu hivyo ngumu.
To mouth. So I think we appeal to the human side of this thing, and it makes a difference. One thing I was telling guys, even election-wise, I think there's a stat. I can't remember the exact figures. I don't think in the Kenyan political landscape, there's ever been an election where they've been able to steal more than 10%. Watch and show. If you come out in our droves and have a significant number of people voting against something they don't believe in, watch and wambie, ata waibe aje, ni impossible.
that's true.
Ni impossible. You can only steal to a certain extent. Bro, ours is about 5 million votes.
Yeah.
Like
TZ at 97%.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. In this democracy, I don't think that works. I'm telling you, appeal to the human side of people and people will forget the tribal lines. Because that's what Maandamano did. When people were being killed on the streets, we never thought, kuna Mkikuyu ameuliwa, kuna Mluya. It appealed to us as human beings, only mmoja wetu.
Yeah, so how do we do that? Like, how do we switch that?
We deal with the real problems, Chaque. Well, you see the problems you're dealing with.
Yeah.
The problems zenye Mama Mboga ana deal nazo on a different level, perhaps, but the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think those are the things politics needs to. And that's why these old people, the only thing they can go with is the tribal card when they do, because they can't deal with it. When they deal with the issues, it chappers all of them. When Rigathi goes online and lies to people, I was telling Ruto, I'm like, shut the hell up. When us guys were being shot on the streets every day, you were quiet, bro. I can't. Saddam right now say, Chaque the president when he vice. If he does something you don't believe in and people are dying, will you keep quiet and just watch from the sidelines?
Absolutely.
Honestly, I think we should cut Rigathi Gachagua some slack, because Rigathi has publicly stated that, I don't know if it's true, but he has publicly stated that he was being undermined. His leadership in the government was being undermined. Like, alikuwa anakuwa sidelined. And you also have to understand that these things are structured. There is a chain of command. So you can't just come out and start speaking against the president in a country whereby the president is held with so much esteem. You can't do that. Maybe utendea president, then you tell him secretly, hey prezo, hapa hivi, acha tushukishe kidogo. But considering who Ruto is, will he really listen to someone like Rigathi? Maybe Rigathi is talking the truth. Lakini Ruto was the problem.
Absolutely.
If you're a proper person, you step down. You say, I won't stand for this thing that's happening. So I don't believe it, because their politics is hinged on that. But when our politics becomes issue-based, all of them are out. Because none of them has done anything in their 10 years.
So, yeah. And so, okay, I think, again, the other question is, in theory, that sounds correct. How come, and I'm sure this is an issue that has been discussed even for a long time. Even part of Just Vision 2030 was like, let's get to a point where there's like a clear agenda on what needs to be done as a country. And most of what was discussed there were issues and things that need to be sorted. But the politics of it just never allows the progression to happen. That's why, for instance, you look at like cabinet secretaries, they're not supposed to be political positions. True. But in Kenya, it's always a political position. So if it's a political position, it means now you're mixing development and politics. Which just never works. Yeah. So they do that, cripple all parastatals, the mumias, the hizo zote zinakufa, then now they come and tell you the only solution is to privatize, because when you privatize, if someone puts their money, they'll make sure it works. Yeah.
And now that is the problem that we need to fix. That is now the system. Not even going against the president of the republic, but fixing such things, ensuring that the cabinet secretaries are not political figures, but who can bring development in every single area in this country.
Yeah. Then I'm sure that the same people buying these companies with just proxies.
But Chaque, we've also never been at a point in our country where, apart from a few people, like the collective decided to do this. So I don't think, I don't think I've ever been on the streets educating people about these things. I don't think I've ever spoken, before this, I don't think I've spoken robustly about politics in this kind of sense. So I think things are changing in the sense that people are talking about these things now. People are actively doing it. People are actively educating people. And I think it needs to even happen even on a grander level, 10 times more. I think that's the problem. So those things have been talked about. Like we've said, in the past they've said we want to do this and this, but no one has ever done them. So I think that the challenge right now is for everyone who's watching, for everyone who feels a responsibility to actually do them. That will make a difference. Because hata maandamano Kanye happened last year. Nothing like that had ever been seen.
Yeah.
So it means this generation has the opportunity to do something that's also never been seen before in 2027. And maybe this thing that we're doing right now, educating and everything, is not even for 2027. Maybe 2027 comes and we've made steps. Maybe it's progress. Yeah. Maybe the goal is progress. And then in 2032, it's a difference. Because it has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But we can't just rest on our laurels and just be like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's a mentality of doing something, thinking you lose.
Yeah.
That is what.
Yeah.
That is the worst way to do it.
Yeah. 100.
Or like already getting into it, knowing
knowing,
that
it's
not
then
gonna
at some point
change.
you're like, it's like you give up. And I can only imagine, say our last election 3 years ago, since then till now, there's a lot of people who didn't turn up to vote in the last election. I included. So then that chunk of us who are already registered, who didn't vote, then we have to vote. Then since 3 years ago, I can imagine how many people have gotten ID cards. We still have 2 more years for new, people to turn 18 or 1.5 almost, right? To still get IDs so that they can register for voting. So collectively, the guys who didn't vote, especially the young people, the old people may just give up on those niggas. Yeah, so the old people, they screwed us up over and over. And didn't do anything. You know what I mean?
Me, I told you, hide the IDs.
Yeah.
Me, nimeficha mamangu, mama, I don't trust her. He does.
Yeah. So ukiongeza kwanza the young people in our vote, who is going to be their first time, then
kuna chance.
What you guys are saying,
kuna chance kubwa.
Like, hata kama utaiba, hawezi iba sana.
True.
So tukitokea wote, we make it so hard for them.
You make it difficult for them to steal. Bro, I had some older guy the other day saying, sasa vile Raila amekufa, si imebaki tu sasa itabidi hata huyo Ruto simpendi, lakini itabidi tu nimpe.
Why?
I really have, my hopes are high. People are going to come out and vote in large numbers because I think Kenyans have never felt the need to vote in such an intense way. The need is so much intense right now. Alafu pia we have to understand that I think hii mambo ya kusema okay, now we have to vote for Ruto because these are the only devils that you know. Ruto is the other devil that you know. And there's a saying that goes, better the devil that you know than the angel that you don't know. So I think if wase wengi watakuja kuvote, they'll decide to vote. We also need a candidate who can oppose Ruto, who can contest Ruto in a serious way, so that people kinda believe or get persuaded that they might have a chance of having someone they want in office if they actually decide to vote. But don't bring a weak link. Usileta tu msela tu because apana. We also need a serious opponent.
I looked at
These old people of Kiri. Sinakwambia old people.
We mwenyewe unasema upendi umse akura kitu anadu.
So why is there a gun to your head?
Bro, tulianza maandamano and it was just based on issues, and then they made it look like maandamano yetu. Maka nashinda kwani cost of living ni yetu pekee. But you guys are complaining at home, but
that's exactly what happens. In a united group, Gavawa inakuja nini? Ina divide na kukonka. And all of a sudden, they start selling a narrative, a different narrative, maandamano. They start, selling a narrative that will cause people to see maandamano in a negative light. That maandamano is violence. That through maandamano, businesses are being damaged. Through maandamano, institutions are being ruined. But in reality, that is not what happens. These people are so good in creating propaganda and selling the propaganda, and people actually buy it.
That's the point. But you see, that's how you destroy movements. When you make it about people and not issues. So you water it down. And it's the same thing they do with tribal politics. You water it down to tribal so that there's now... Do you know what it became? Nothing. And you saw on Twitter, it was Gen Z versus our wase were old. Oh, nyimna dhani mnajua kutuliko. When the whole maandamano was issue-based.
Reject the finance bill.
It was issue-based, but they tried to water it down and make it look like Gen Z wanabomwa tu vitu. Gen Z tu ni waraudi. Gen Z hawapendi kusikiza.
Yeah.
And that's what the government will always try to do. Make something look so trivial.
Yeah.
Because when you make it issue-based, you have the whole country.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I was there when instead of giving us generational wealth,
bruh,
they give us cars.
Walikuwa tu sianza hapo. That's why I'm like, and we've covered this before. It's in many layers, bro. Yeah. Education, if you think about it, the creative side of Nini, they killed all that.
It's
so like they killed. I'm like, what did they want? Like they actually, our parents actually really hated us.
Clearly, they
if you look at it properly. Even till now, bro, it doesn't make sense at all. Bro, the amount of fear they instilled in us. Bro, how many people, parents, I'm sure, and elder siblings, walikuwa naambia usiende, like, mtauliwa.
Hata tu the amount of things we've talked about today that Saddam has kept on saying, hizo ni vitu tulikuwa tunainstiliwa tu kwa akili, si vitu tuna exist.
But I also can't blame our parents, because remember the era they're coming from was a very cutthroat
They're projecting their fears.
So you really can't blame them. But then again, it's like, even you at some point, grow out of that mentality. You're grown, bro.
They've grown. If anything, they've grown old with nothing working. Why do they want
to die with nothing working? Like, it's weird.
And also, if we were brought up and we were also as fearful as they were, then maybe what tumeogopa. But if we were strong and confident, all we need is just the support. Imagine if our parents came out from Mandamano with us. It would have
changed that.
You remember how the few parents who came on Mandamano were big on TikTok and everything? Because it's so, like, you don't even comprehend how they can come. But I think also those guys were comfortable. I was telling my folks the other day, think about it. In your era, when someone did a teaching course, they used to finish uni and get a job immediately.
Yeah, almost guaranteed.
Right now in Kenya, doctors are tamarking.
Bro.
So the struggle is not the same. The urgency for our urgency is not the same as them. Them they had opportunities come at them. Like, bro, people
come at them.
Mtu alikuwa anatoka uni unatafutwa kwa gate ya university kuja tuko na job. Sasa vijana wana kazi. So urgency to see the same. I think we also live and I think that contributes to it. The fact that our struggles are so significantly different to theirs. So I think we have an urgency of change than they did, I think if they lived in a world where they didn't have money, they didn't have jobs, maybe they'd figure a point and be like,
Apana.
We need to do something about it.
And the fact that even when during the independence, things were not working with the white people, they had to fight. So, people died.
Yes.
And then they earned something. So like there's sacrifice always when you need something.
You have to.
And I think the idea that, nothing, we don't want to, you might die, or,
bro, it happened.
The idea of sacrifice for change to happen, especially if it's such critical change, that is something that...
You can't fight evil in the causes of it. Impossible.
Yeah, so that was the episode. I hope you've learned a lot. First of all, the problem in our country is not even the president. We have a systematic problem. It's not an individual's problem. The second thing you've learned, ni kwamba, I think we are in a point in our country whereby a revolution is destined to happen. It is inevitable, but people haven't gained enough courage and confidence to actually do it. Lakini, hopefully, without things are progressing, without we are addressing these political issues, I think we are headed in the right direction. And the last thing, ni kwamba, the problem that we need to address is desperation. We are a desperate society, therefore we make desperate decisions. When a politician approaches you with $1, $2, $5, all of a sudden, you're not thinking about the future. You're thinking about your stomach. You're not thinking with your head. You're thinking with your stomach, which is very, very wrong. And I think that desperation is being engineered deliberately so that politicians always win. So that is our episode for today. Wadau, adios. See you next time, Aze.